What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS 3 Raw TV. I want to talk to you guys about something right now, tonight, and I think it's very important to speak out about this and talk about this because many of you out there right now may be down on yourselves because you're failing at something or you failed at something recently, and that failure can kind of creep in the back of your head and not just keep you down, but kind of eat you up and fester and bring apart negativity where it can kind of, if it's the right kind of negativity, it can screw up your life, okay? Now, Jerry, what are you talking about? I like to preempt these videos with something that really tries to get your attention because not always what I'm about to talk about is really kind of how people are feeling. So I try to put out the kind of what things are feeling like first and then how it applies to what we're going through. So I've had people, absolutely bash me, make fun of me, tear me up, straight up hate about the fact that I never turned pro. Like, Jerry, you tried so long, you never turned pro, you fucking suck, you're last place Jerry, etc., stuff like that. And I used to get upset with not turning pro. This whole thing comes about because Nick Trigili actually asked me on his podcast, which the first episode is up now in his podcast. If you guys want to go watch it, we talk about everything. We talk about everything. It's all covered. We had a great conversation. It's 3 parts. Part 1 is up now. I had a great time. Nick is awesome. So thank you, Nick, for having me on the world-class trainer Nick Trigili podcast show. Now, Nick's question to me was, and I've had it asked me a few times, and I never really thought about it until my wife Erin actually brought it up. The best thing that never happened to me was turning pro. Being a pro bodybuilder is the best thing that never happened to me. Now, it took me 20 years of scratching and fighting and clawing and doing everything I could to try to get that pro card. Like, it was a personal goal of mine, right, to turn pro. And when I realized it wasn't going to happen, right, I was out of options. I'd taken all the drugs. I'd done everything I could. I still kept falling short. I got really down on myself. I got upset, and I said, I'm going to walk away from this whole thing, right? I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to walk away and leave it all behind me. And that was the best move I could have ever made. Now, let me explain. There are people out there that have become so successful at something that if they had done something else, they wouldn't be that successful. Let's look at Usain Bolt, okay, of all people, right? Has nothing to do with bodybuilding, but Usain Bolt is a runner, right? The best thing that ever happened to him was maybe the job that he didn't get, that he wanted, that he gets so mad that he went for a run, right? Or something didn't work out for him in the past that he relied on what was happening at the time that happened to blow up. And if he looks back, he can look at that and say, wow, the best thing that ever happened to me was this, because what actually happened was this happened and I became Usain Bolt. Rich Piana is another example. Now, Rich, the best thing for him ever was not turning pro. After Rich didn't turn pro, he decided to kind of push that aside and concentrate on business as well as other things. He still kept training, but look what happened. If he had turned pro, I guarantee you 5% nutrition never would have happened, and his whole clothing line never would have happened. I bet you the mutant thing probably wouldn't have even happened because you'd be too concentrated on competing in your next show and all this stuff like that. Maybe mutant had, because that had to do with bodybuilding, but he never would have started that company. None of that stuff would have happened. He wouldn't have had all the money that he had if he hadn't been, competing in bodybuilding and trying to do that. You're spending tons more on drugs, etc. Again, the best thing that never happened to Rich, turning pro. The best thing that never happened to The Rock. Okay, I can go on and on with people that, are, doing great things today, doing amazing things today that they never would have done if Plan A would have worked out. Plan B seemed to be the one that was the biggest thing for them, and Plan A didn't work out, but you focus on that because you didn't do Plan A and you feel like a failure. However, you succeeded so much at Plan A, it's Plan B. Plan A didn't even matter. It was a stepping stone. It was to get you ready for Plan B. You know what I mean? Actually, it was step 1. Step 2 was to be where you are now. So instead of Plan A and B, it's step 1 and 2. Now, The Rock, football, right? Big football player, absolutely wanted to go pro, played in the Canadian Football League, did everything he could to get in the NFL, did not get into the NFL, right? The best thing ever for The Rock was not getting in the NFL and turning pro as a football player. He went on to the wrestling career, right? The wrestling career is really what kind of made his name. And then he went on to the movies, and now he's #1 boxer, all that bullshit like that, right? But the bottom line was he also started on something, was on a path, and failed. However, there are people that, when their backs are against a wall, they have nowhere to go but forward. So they come out swinging, right? And I've always looked at it as, you may have one idea of how you want things to go. And when it doesn't work out, if you're not looking for that next opportunity, it just passes you by. You just kind of sit here and fester about what didn't happen. But as these other things are coming up, you should be like, oh, this is not happening, but this, look at this. What if I took all this energy and invested it in this? Boom, that thing starts to grow. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden, you're really successful at this one thing. You know, plain and simple, I was putting all my time, all my energy into bodybuilding. It consumed my life, right? I even had an ex-girlfriend when we split. She was like, I just can't live this lifestyle. It's not for me. It's too much. And I remember telling her, like, look, you know, I care about you so much. I'll quit. I'm not going to compete anymore. I'm tired of it. And she had enough sense at the time to be like, no, this is what you love. It's your dream. Go after it, right? So, I mean, I lost her. I lost other girlfriends. I lost, you know, had problems with family members. I lost money. I lost jobs. I mean, so much happened because of bodybuilding that my whole world revolved around bodybuilding. And it absorbed all my energy and all my time and all my attention, everything. And when it failed, now I'm left with, what do I do now? What am I supposed to do? But at the time, YouTube was starting for me. So I was dabbling in the YouTube thing while the bodybuilding thing was kind of stagnant and almost coming to an end. And when I realized that's it, I'm not going to turn pro. I understand how this is working. I don't have the genetics. I don't have the physique. I don't have the structure. I don't have any of it. No matter how much I want to be pro, even if I turn pro, to be in the 212 class, I got to gain 30 pounds of muscle. You know, and I'm 4 inches taller than these guys, and I've already done all the drugs. I've done the growth hormone, the PGF, I've done the insulin, I've done the fucking lutein, I've done all of the DNP, I did all the drugs, and I still couldn't produce that type of physique. But what happened was the YouTube thing. You know, it was like, okay, well, I need to concentrate on something else. So what I love is bodybuilding, what I love is training, what I love is dieting. That's what I really love about it. The pro thing was just a personal goal. So why don't I continue doing what I love? Why don't I continue doing the one thing, like way back in the day before, you know, I even was involved with YouTube. I didn't care about anything except bodybuilding, but I would always ask. I was so interested in how the diet worked, how the training worked, what supplements to take, how to stack drugs. I was so interested in this stuff that I absorbed all that information, and I didn't realize that absorbing that information, how I was doing that, bodybuilding was doing that for me. By concentrating only on bodybuilding, I was absorbing all of that information, which was stuff that I loved. And you can't absorb that information in like a year, 2 years, 3 years. You're not going to do it. That's literally 20 years worth of information that I absorbed throughout the years. And when the time came for me to apply that to something else, next thing you know, bodybuilding really wasn't working out. Well, I can continue doing what I love, which is the fitness stuff, in another form, in a whole nother incarnation, which is YouTube. And I started doing the YouTube videos, right? And that led to other opportunities. So I had to let bodybuilding go, and the YouTube opportunity popped up. And then chance to work with these different companies, another opportunity popped up. And then, you know, signing with 5% Nutrition popped up. And then traveling to expos, another opportunity popped up. And traveling all over the world popped up. And I'm sitting here going, you know, left and right, these opportunities were always there, but I wasn't ready for them. So I was doing the bodybuilding, concentrating. I wasn't even seeing that these other things are over here and they could be opportunities. Never thought about it, right? Concentrating on this. When that wasn't working, I stopped and realized every opportunity that was coming in front of me, there's no fucking way I'm going to let that go. Like, I need these opportunities. I need to grab them. So that never would have happened because I would have turned pro. Here's exactly what would have happened. Already did all the drugs, right? Even Nubain, right? Turn pro. Fuck, now you got to take it up another notch, right? When you turn pro, it doesn't mean that you're getting better at something. It gets easier. You turn pro, you go up a level, it gets harder. So now you're at another level where it's harder. You know what that means? Harder training, harder dieting, more drugs, okay? I guarantee you within the first couple of years, I would have been so focused on the pro thing, right? And trying to make the pro debut and all that pro stuff that was just, you know, everything's about being a pro, that I honestly would have probably hurt myself, not in the gym, but I probably would have hurt myself with drugs. I probably would have hurt myself physically, but I probably would have hurt myself with drugs very quickly in the pros, trying to keep up with them because I didn't have the genetics. You try to compensate for genetics with drugs. So basically, I'm going to put myself in the ground at an early age if I turn pro. There are other people that don't have to do that. They're able to handle it because they have the genetics. They have the tools to work with. I didn't have them. So, you know, people like my friend Anthony DeRezzo, who was an amazing guy up in Rhode Island, and he didn't have the genetics. As big as he was, he didn't have the genetics to be that top two in, or, you know, to win his class, or I think to turn pro, you had to win the overall back then when he was competing. And he kept compensating by more and more drugs, and it did damage to his body. And he had a hip replacement. He had tendon tears and stuff. And then finally, his heart was enlarged from everything that he was doing. He was a big guy, and he was older, still chasing that dream. Opportunities just going by him left and right because he was so focused on that personal goal. And he died at the Masters Nationals. He died at the show. In his room, he went down, heart attack, died. And I kind of looked at it like, that's where I'm headed. You know, that's where I'm headed. I don't have the genetics. Even if miraculous fucking luck of the draw miracle, I did turn pro, I have to step it up a notch now, and my body's already taking a beating. Like, You know what I mean? So you got to look back sometimes, guys, and remember, there's always a positive from a negative. The negative was I never turned pro. The positive was none of you would be watching this right now or even know who the fuck I am. GFD Labs would never exist. I would have never known Rich Piana. None of this shit would have fucking happened unless I had given up bodybuilding and walked away from that pro card. So you see, like, you know, some people can get down on you and they make fun of you. They'll poke fun of you. They'll think they're better than you because you failed at something and they haven't even attempted at anything. But the bottom line is, some of us don't want to be negative for the rest of our lives. Some of us don't want to fail over and over again. Some of us want to succeed. And if there's something that you're bad at, you don't force it. You double down on the things that you're good at, okay? And if you're good at something, you will be successful at that as long as you keep trying and pushing, giving your all, and don't stop and don't let up and don't quit. You will be successful at that. That's exactly what fucking happens every single time. One of the people that I talked about just now, or myself, literally said, you know what? Here's the deal. This didn't work out like this, but rather than beating myself up about it for the next 20 years, I'm going to let it go, which is another hard thing to do, guys. A lot of people don't let shit go out there, especially something like that you've worked at 20 years for and you still didn't accomplish it. It's very hard to walk away from that, and it takes a lot of heart. It does. It takes a lot of heart and it takes a lot of balls to walk away from something you work so hard that you know you're not going to do, to put yourself into something that you hope is going to work. That's something completely different that you may have more of a talent for, maybe more suited for you, than it's not going to kill you in the long run. But still, your heart is still for that pro card, right? That personal goal. And much of that personal goal is to show other people. Much of that pro card was to show other people that I could do it. It was to show other people that I'm something, I'm somebody. I'm not that little kid in high school that they told couldn't do it, right? So now I'm the little kid in high school that they told couldn't be a pro bodybuilder. I wasn't. However, this is what I do now. And those same exact people are like, how the fuck did you do that? Like, they're more impressed now than what I'm doing now than ever when I was doing bodybuilding. But here's the difference. The reason why it's okay now is because I don't fucking care. I don't care about the people that thought I couldn't do it before. I don't care about the people that think it's cool now. I don't fucking care. For the first time in my life, I'm truly free. I'm free from other people's thoughts, other people's ideas, and putting me in a box. There's no fucking way that you could put me in a box. I'm not your average person that just goes along with the crowd, right? I've always done things my own way, against the grain, the hard way, even though there's probably an easier way. I do it my way because I know if I do it the hard way, there's a fucking lesson. There's a lesson behind why I'm doing it that way. I don't know what it is, but when I'm done, I'll learn that lesson. And doing the shortcuts, the easier way, you don't learn that lesson that you apply somewhere else. So you see, like, a lot of people will say, you know, you have to do things like this. I'm like, no, I'm going to do it like this. Like, why? It's so much harder. The lessons. Everything's about the lessons. Rich Piana, The Rock, Anthony DeRezzo, you know, all these people left us lessons, right? They left us lessons to learn from. And rather than being assholes and acting like fucking, they were just fucking people that, you know, well, they're, you know, this one's dead, that one's dead, this one's an idiot, whatever. They gave you a fucking blueprint. They're giving you blueprints on how to fucking make your life better right now. You just have to listen. BioStrengthTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostrength.com is the blog, so you have to listen for the blueprint bicep, and we are